how about this? Most persistent villains in Warcraft history. Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
The most persistent villain in Warcraft
who is
history
it?
is not who you'd expect.
Okay.
There have been lots of repeat villains, like demons from space, zombies, or old god minions. But all of these pale in comparison to the unending persistence of the Venture Company. A goblin cartel
what?
who will stop at nothing for profit. Whether that means
Oh.
destroying the environment, establishing relationships with morally devious business partners, or outright killing the competition. They are
Oh.
so persistent that they have been enemies we've had to fight in more than half of all of World of Warcraft's expansions. But first, the Venture Co was introduced
Capitalism.
in Classic WoW. And the earliest appearance of them is in the Tarn starting zone of Mulgore in the appropriately named Venture Co mine, to pilfer the homeland of the Tarn's mountains for all it's worth. And while the Tarn are a peaceful people, they were gonna let this go on much longer. And they attacked the Venture Co caravans escorting supplies to the mine's entrance. So in Classic WoW and in Cataclysm, players go into the Venture Co mine and kill a lot of Venture Co workers, but according to the Exploring Azeroth Kalimdor book, even to this day, the Venture Company still have a presence in Mulgore. The Venture
tiny
Company
green
also
guys?
has been seen in the Barrens at the Sludge Fen. One thing you'll notice about the Venture Co that makes them different from other goblin organizations is that they are an equal opportunity employer and will hire any and all races if they're Alliance, Horde, or something in between. Well, you know, as long as they have flexible morals, of course.
Oh, I remember them now. They were like literally like they were like guarding what was it, that well, and then I almost got fucked up by them, right? That's this corporation? That's crazy. Okay. Damn.
And by far the biggest presence the company has is in the Stonetalon Mountains, in the Windshear Crag, where they are currently underway on a ruthless logging operation and clearing every single tree in sight. The leader of this operation is actually a leper gnome named Gorenzo Wrenchwhistle, who surveys the ruthless harvesting of materials from above. Gorenzo was formerly the head engineer of Nomergon and was infected with radiation after the city's accident. In order to mend his now rotting flesh, he has begun grafting metal and gears into his body and replacing his limbs with robotic ones.
Excuse me,
Keep in
what?
mind, all this lore is from Classic WoW, so he was a mechanome before mechanomes were cool.
No.
Which they never were, but you get what I'm saying. Grenzo's famous invention is the Super Reaper 6000, a monolithic machine that can clear an entire forest with ease. Another iteration of the Super Reaper was also used by the company in the Wrath of the Lich King expansion in the Grizzly Hills to destroy another forest, which we'll cover later in the video, along with a lot of other crimes the Venture Co has committed.
Okay.
Manslaughter, embezzlement, bribery, wage theft, fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, forgery, murder, assault,
Tax
insider trading,
evasion.
But in Stonetown Mountain, unfortunately, by the time of the Cataclysm, the Venture Company had to report to their shareholders that the Windshear Crag was lost and is now fought over by the Alliance and Horde, but a few determined Venture Company employees, including Gorenzo, are still defending the water wheel.
07, the water wheel.
And finally, in Classic, the company has a presence in the Stranglethorn Vale, where they are clearing even more forests and harvesting crystals, and later on in Cataclysm started operating oil rigs where they are still active by the time of the Dragonflight expansion. But that isn't all of the company's business dealings within the Vale.
Ooh.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Can I interest you in a payment plan?
The
Oh.
Venture Co. has established trade negotiations with the notorious witch doctor Zanzil, who has concocted a wicked poison that can raise people in undeath, which sounds
Okay.
like a product with a wide customer base, if you ask me. And the Venture Company started to export the product to seedy individuals across Azeroth like the Defias Brotherhood. Rogue players in
Ooh.
Classic discover this grand conspiracy during their poison crafting questline. For the Alliance, they travel to Westfall, and for the Horde, they travel to the Barrens. The Grand Foreman of the Baron's Outpost is named Gallywix. Obviously, it isn't the infamous trade prince Gallywix of the Bilgewater Cartel, but perhaps it's one of his relatives, which I think is a pretty neat little detail.
Damn, I don't know if that's good.
Next, in the Burning Crusade expansion, there is some VentureCo involvement, but it's very, very small. We can find the company in the Azure Mist Isle, the starting zone for the Draenor. To make an incredibly convoluted quest line short, a traitorous gnome who is working for Kael'thas Sunstrider has hired the venture company to strip mine the Draenor ship that crash landed on Azeroth called the Exodar, which perfectly encapsulates the company's greed. No, a spacecraft that is tens of thousands of years old, that can transcend dimensions and warp time itself. Ooh, man. I bet there's some valuable resources on there we can harvest.
I don't know if that's
Speaking
good.
of harvesting priceless advanced materials, in the Wrath of the Lich King, the venture company set up Swindlegrin's Dig to harvest crystals in the Sholazar Basin. This zone was built by the Titan Keeper Freya as an area of experimentation in the creation of living things. In order to protect this petri dish of creation, 4 pillars were built to control the region's climate and protect the land from evil forces. Although they don't seem to work really well, as one of these pillars was destroyed by the Scourge, and the other is being harvested by the Venture Co., and they're digging out all of the pretty crystals. Even to this day,
the crystals!
According to the Exploring Azeroth Northrend book, the Venture Company still has a presence in this zone, and their continued pilfering of shiny crystals could lead to even more damage to the region, more than the Scourge even created.
Ooh.
And as I mentioned earlier, the Venture Co. has a presence in the Grizzly Hills, at the logging camp, and the Venture Bay outpost. Now there is a very small amount of company workers here. My favorite group of them is them in this building just standing here, no props, no emotes, just standing in a giant empty building. Now the idea behind these two areas is that they're supposed to be like these big world PvP arenas, but nobody actually went to them. There were some daily quests, but like actual PvP did not happen here at all. The only footage I can find of PvP happening here is from 2015, and it's an RP PvP event.
Wait, what?
And again, according to the Exploring Azeroth Northrend book, the Venture Company still has a presence here after the Horde and the Alliance stopped fighting each other and left. Which I think is hilarious. Like, literally every single zone the Venture Company has been in that I've mentioned, they're still there and they haven't left. It's just, like, impossible to get rid of these greedy little goobers.
No, they're called goobers too. Ooh.
In the Mist of Pandaria, the company is never explicitly involved in anything on the Pandaria continent. But the Black Fuse Company goblins in the Siege of Orgrimmar might be a part of the Venture Co., because in the next expansion, Garrosh's Iron Horde hired some Black Fuse Company mercs on an island called the Dark Tide Roost. But there's a garrison mission that says that it was actually Venture Co. mercs that were hired at the Dark Tide Roost. The only explicitly stated Venture Co. company NPCs in Draenor are in Talador, and they're operating these shredders and are dead on the ground. But this is still confirmation that they were hired by the Iron Horde. So all of this is to say, the Black Fuse Company might be a part of the Venture Co., and honestly, being heavily involved with a business partner who's a war criminal is something that I wouldn't put past them.
Yeah, I guess.
And the next time we see the company is in the battle for Azeroth, and they have a lot of cameos in this expansion. They have an oil rig in Stormsong Valley, a presence in Vol'dun, they're trying to steal resources from Mechagon, they show up in island expeditions, they're in a random leatherworking quest in Mulgore, they steal a prized hammer from the Dark Iron Dwarves, and are a part of some obscure quest line in Tenaris revolving around a robotic parrot named Feathers, which I didn't even know was a thing until now, to be honest. But by far the most prominent cameo of the company is in the Motherlode dungeon.
Oh shit?
You see, you gotta say it like that because it's in all caps. So during this expansion, the precious resource called Azerite was an incredibly powerful, hot commodity, and there was a huge swath of it that just appeared on the island of Kazan. The CEO of the Venture Co., Mogul Razdunk, is using the mine as an opportunity to get stupid rich and weaponize the Azerite and sell it to the highest bidder, and keep the margins as low as possible with the cheapest labor.
Hey! Where do you think you're going? I don't want to hear no more complaints about no unsafe conditions. If you're complaining, you ain't holding your breath, so it's your own fault for breathing toxic fumes.
I have like PTSD now. Holy shit. From like when I used to work at a black company. Yo, okay. Too real, guys. This is too real. Are you liking this video? You are, aren't you? Aren't you? Well, if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. Also, drop a comment down telling me what you want to see next, and maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? You'll have to keep watching, don't you? Oh my god. Also, if a goblin ever yelled at me like that, on fucking god, you just punt the guy. Just punt that dude. What the fuck? Insane?
Initially, Razdunk made a deal with the Bilgewater Cartel, the goblin cartel of the Horde, to refine Azerite for them. But at the very last moment, he backed out of the deal.
You'll never take me alive!
What?
Putting the Horde at a disadvantage for the Azerite arms race against the Alliance.
Hey, Mr. Blightcaller, I got some bad news. Mogul Razdunk double-crossed us. It was crazy. I never seen the green bastard back out of a deal like that. You wouldn't believe. Oh.
Pull yourself together, trade prince. Such babbling does not befit a leader of the Horde.
Well, excuse me, Banshee Prince. Sorry if I'm rattled after nearly getting killed. In a deal I was against making in the first place.
The war chief will not be pleased. We were counting on Razdunk's methods of refining Azerite in our war against the Alliance.
That deal was more trouble than it was worth.
Damn.
There is an easier way to get what we want. By cutting out the middleman, if you get my drift.
Indeed.
Do we?
Champion. Head to Kazan. Acquire the Azerite refining techniques we were promised. And make Mogul Razdunk suffer for breaking his word to the Dark Lady.
Ooh.
So we, the player characters, are sent to the Motherlode to do what we do best.
Okay.
Kill everything in sight, which includes Mogul Razdunk himself.
Do you bums realize how much property damage you've done? You'll pay for that!
Bums is insane.
But Razdunk's death didn't mark the end of the Venture Co., but perhaps it's for the better. Because in the next expansion, Dragonflight, the higher-ups sent Grimilla Fizzlecrank to the Dragon Isles to see if there were any business prospects to capitalize on the Isle. But you see, Grimilla, she was so captivated by the Isle's wonder, she said, "No, not this time. We don't need to pollute this place and rob it of all of its resources.
Wow.
It's just too beautiful to do something like that."
Wow.
And you know what? That makes sense. This is Dragonflight, the friendship expansion, where everyone gets to hold hands and work together as one. All for the greater... Well, guess what? That was a f***ing lie. Why would you ever believe anything the Venture Co. mercs say? Grimilla Fizzlecrank is a fake and a fraud because the Forbidden Reach is covered in Venture Company looters raiding the island for its priceless artifacts.
Damn.
And their involvement doesn't stop in the current expansion, The War Within, either. The company has committed a hostile takeover of the Cinder Brew meadery on the Isle of Dorn, and has trapped all of the molten bees and has increased mead production tenfold. The leader of this operation is my favorite Venture Co. NPC, Goldie Baronbottom, who is the self-proclaimed BEO. But you know, we go in and we kill all the Venture Co. employees in a typical fashion. They can also...
Do you think Venture Co. employees get health benefits? Because, like, considering, like, the player characters just, like, murder them? Do you think they get like a good like I don't know like death like bonus thing? Goblins don't get benefits. Ooh, absolutely not. Oh 07. Okay, they're just getting like taken advantage of then. Oof. We are the health benefits. Oh, we free them from like captivity by like killing them. That's kind of insane.
To be seen in the Ringing Deeps where they're stealing some Titan artifacts. And finally, the Venture Co. can be found in Aj Kahet, where they've been hired by some of the Nerubians in a grand scheme to take down Queen Anzarek.
Okay.
The goblins found themselves in Aj Kahet because they dug through the earth from the Undermine, the goblin capital of Azeroth, and that's going to be the next featured zone in the upcoming patch for the War Within, which I'm sure the Venture Co. will have plenty of screen time in. And that's all of the company's involvement so far, which, like I said, is a lot of screen time for a faction in the game that is kind of inconsequential in the grand scheme of the universe. This isn't some big existential threat like the Legion, Scourge, or the Void. It's just a bunch of jackasses with shovels. But I think the reason why they are so common in each expansion is that they're just really easy to write into a story of a zone. For each expansion, Blizzard wants to fill zones with mobs for us to fight, and these mobs need stories for why they're there in that zone in the first place. For the Venture Co., it's so incredibly easy to write them in.
Capitalism.
Why are they there? Money. No complicated culture that can create inconsistencies, no confusion as to why they're there in the first place, no convoluted backstory. The backstory is just profit.
Capitalism, baby.
That comes with the Venture Company that I think is a breath of fresh air in the Warcraft universe.
I guess. I mean, they're
Speaking
evil.
Of, this video is sponsored by me. The Warcraft universe is outrageously big, and a lot of the more nuanced parts of the narrative are not told in-game. They're told in external books and short stories. If you visit my Patreon, you can fully immerse yourself in these stories, narrated by me, which include music, ambience, and sound effects, which brings the source material to life. Currently, there's almost 5 hours of narrated immersive content and a new story is uploaded each month. And you can listen to all of them for just $5 a month and support the channel in the process. And most importantly, you can sign up for free to listen to previews for each of these stories. So go visit my Patreon, patreon.com/platinumwow, to get hours worth of content for just a few dollars a month. And of course, thanks for watching.
Wait, should I sign up for his Patreon? Because that honestly sounds really cool. Wait, should I do it, guys? And he's a friend? Oh my god. Not him being a bestie.